150 years ago, preparing a meal at home was a very different experience than what we're used to today. Look around this kitchen in Johnny and Nanny Seitz' house in Arrow Rock, Missouri. This is a typical kitchen for a middle-class family in the 1870s. There's no microwave oven, no gas or electric range, there's no refrigerator or dishwasher, there's not even a sink with running water. In the late 1800s, it was very unusual for a woman to work outside the home. Most women spent their days cooking, doing laundry, cleaning house, and taking care of the children, and they didn't have any of the modern conveniences that we enjoy today. In the 1870s, a woman's day began early, often before sunrise, when she would get up and start a fire in the wood-burning cook stove. She would shovel out the ashes from the night before, then load it up with the wood that she carried in from outside. She carefully adjusted the dampers and flues and lit the fire. There wasn't a thermostat like we have on modern ovens, so she couldn't just set the temperature and walk away. She had to watch closely to make sure the fire didn't die down before her food was cooked. That fire probably felt good on a cold winter day, but even in the hottest part of the summer, she had to fire up the stove for cooking. Grocery shopping was different too. There sure weren't any microwavable meals, no boxes of macaroni and cheese, not even sliced bread. A housewife made everything from scratch. She might purchase things like flour, cornmeal, beans, and molasses from a local mercantile, but many of the ingredients she used were grown in her own garden. Families often raised chickens to provide eggs and meat, and might keep a cow for milk. Even very young children were given the responsibilities of feeding the animals and helping in the garden. Breakfast would probably be a simple meal, maybe some cornbread, sausage, and fried potatoes. Then it was time to wash the breakfast dishes, and for that, the housewife needed some water. Since there wasn't any running water in the house, she had to carry a bucket out to the well or cistern outside, pump the water into the bucket, and carry it back inside, where she would heat the water on the stove and then wash the dishes. It is estimated that a woman in the 1870s carried more than 36 tons of water every year, one bucket at a time, for chores like washing dishes and doing the laundry. The big meal of the day might be something like chicken and dumplings, cooked green beans that had been picked fresh from the garden that day, and biscuits with strawberry jam. Small towns like Arrow Rock didn't always have a butcher's shop where a family could buy meat that had been prepared for cooking. The job of preparing the meat usually fell to the housewife. Girls were taught how to catch, kill, and pluck a chicken. It was part of their training to get them ready to become wives and mothers. She also learned how to prepare fish by removing the scales, skin, and guts and cutting up the meat. This kitchen has a wonderful convenience that wasn't available in every house, an ice box. It isn't a refrigerator like we know it today. A big block of ice was placed inside the box to help keep the food cold. In the wintertime, when you couldn't rely on a garden for fresh food, the family ate food that Mom had preserved in jars and crocks over the summer and stored in a cool cellar. Meats like ham and bacon were cured or smoked so they would last for months, and the family could enjoy them throughout the winter. Although cooking took up the biggest portion of a housewife's day, she still had to take care of other tasks, and laundry was the least favorite chore of all. There were no washers and dryers back then. Clothes were soaked overnight in a tub of water, then scrubbed on a rough washboard and lathered up with soap. She put the soapy clothes in a vat of boiling water, stirred them, then lifted the heavy, wet clothes out of the hot water and rinsed them in cold water twice. Finally, she hung them on a clothesline to dry. There were not synthetic or permanent press fabrics, so the clean clothes were pretty wrinkled. The housewife heated up a heavy iron on the stove and pressed every piece of clothing so her family would look clean and neat. Housekeeping in the 1800s was a difficult, full-time job that required hard physical labor. A sentiment from a popular poem of the day, written by Ellen Sturgis Hopper, is often found embroidered on pillowcases and samplers from the time. It says, "I slept and dreamed that life was beauty, I woke and found that life was duty.